Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. So for today's video, we're going to be doing this look that you see right here, and I promise it's super to achieve and glam AF. So if you'd like to see how I got this look, then please keep watching. Okay, so let's get into this week's video. So for this, just so you can see my eyes better, I am going to zoom the camera in. So I always prime my eyes because that is a crucial step in making sure that your eyeshadow doesn't crease in here, and just so it has longevity and stays longer. So there are lots of products that you can use to prime your eyes. Lots of people use concealer to prime their eyes, or they actually use an eyeshadow primer. What I like to use is it's called a paint pot, and it is from MAC. And it comes just in this little guy here. So the color that I'm using is called Painterly, so it's kind of like just a nude color. So then I always put it on with a flat-tipped brush like this. So you see it just is very flat. So I go ahead and put some on the end of the brush, not too much. So just get some on there, and then you just go in and you go from your lash line all the way up, and I go to just under my eyebrow. And so what priming does, especially for me with this shade, what it actually helps to do is take away any of like the discoloration I have from the veins of my eyes, because I do have quite purple veins here. So this also helps to block out that color. Alright, so now that our eyes are all primed, the product will be tacky, so you don't want to go ahead and just start applying eyeshadow, because it will kind of just like stick to it and it will be very hard to blend. So then the next step that I like to do is take a fluffy blending brush like this one here. This is the E40 from Sigma, so it's just a fluffy blending brush. So then what I like to go in and do is kind of take like a white cream shadow, and this is Blanc type from MAC. So what I'll do is just on that fluffy blending brush is just swirl it around in there and just go all over where we put the eyeshadow primer. It helps to set it so that you don't have a tacky base to work with. And you just go again from lash line all the way up to the brow. Alright, so now, because the type of eyeshadow look we're going for today is a halo eye. So basically, with your darker shadows, you're going to be putting shadow from on your outside corner, inner corner, and in your crease, and leaving the middle of your eyelid completely blank. So basically what you want to do is you kind of want to start out with a transition shade. So what that'll help you do is it just lays down a base of color so that you have an easier time blending your darker shadows, and you don't just go with the dark shadow right away, because it won't blend and you'll have streaks and it won't look cute. So the first color I'm going to be going in with, I have the Jaclyn Hill palette here. So I'm going to be taking this third shade right here, which is called Silk Cream. So that's going to be our transition shade. So the brush that I'm using is the M433 from Morphe, and it's kind of like the other blending brush we used, except it's a little bit more packed in and not as fluffy. So this helps to pack the shadow in. So we're going in with that brown, the light brown shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette. And so we're just going to start by going on the outer eyelid. So again, leaving this middle portion here of your eyelid completely blank. So you just lay down that color. And you just pack it on. And then you work it up into the crease. and you go throughout your crease all the way to the inner corner. And then you can bring it up to about halfway between the crease and your eyebrow. So we're just going to bring the color all the way up into here, and again all the way to the inner corner. And just pack it on the inner corner, and we're going to blend that all through again. So as you see here, there's no color right on this center. So now that we have that color laid down and where we want it, what I'm going to go in and do is take that fluffy brush that we had to put on the color to set our primer. We're going to go in with that brush with no product on it, and we're just going to go in and blend the shadow out on the crease. Just because you don't want any harsh lines and you want to have everything just blown out and flawless looking. And you don't want to put much pressure. So I always hold, so the brush here, I always hold it at almost the end of the brush, because I don't want to put too much pressure, because I'm not trying to take away product, I'm just trying to blend it softly in. And you just use windshield wiper motions. Alright, so the next color that we're going in with is this one right here, and it is called Butter. So it's just a slight bit darker than the next one. So what you want to do is you just want to slowly build up the color. So we'll probably use about 3 to 4 shades here, just so we have built up lots of depth and dimension, and it just looks really flawless and blown out. So again, pack on that same M433 brush with that color, and you put it again on the outside corner and just pack it on. And again, with this one, we don't want to go as high up into the crease this time, because we're not trying to have our whole eye look come to our eyebrow. So this one you can still bring outside the crease just a little bit, so that when you just look straight forward, you can still see the color. And then again, we'll go in with our fluffy brush and we'll blend this all out. So then the next color we're going to go in with this one right here, and it is called Roxanne. So we'll go in with that one. And again, just in the exact same spots that we've already been doing, and we're still going in with our same M433 brush. So this one, because it is darker, we want this one to stay kind of tight in the crease right in here. We don't want to really bring this one up too much. So you kind of just go back and forth in the crease here. And basically I'm just rolling the brush like this. I'm just rolling it between my fingers like that, going through that crease. Alright, and we're going back in again to blend this all out so we don't have that harsh line right here. So this is our dark shadows. So we still have this part right in the middle that we have left blank. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this eye, and I'm just going to speed it up, and you can just watch how I do that. is to fill in our middle part here of our eye. So now there's two ways of doing this. Either you can just use your finger and just push it in, and it does help to give it a lot of pigment because it is your finger and you're just pushing it in. Or you can go in with a flat brush like this. So it's a smaller version of the one that we used to apply the primer. So this one is it is a MAC 230, I believe. I can't read the number on it anymore. But it is just that flat little shader brush. So you can use a brush again or your finger. So I'm going to do each technique on each eye. So on this one, I will go in with my finger. So we are going to go in with the shade here, which is called Obsessed, and it'll give it a lot of pigment in the middle. So just rub your finger into the shadow, and then we'll just go in right in that center piece and just pushing it in. Alright, so now obviously we don't want to just see the lines here. So then what you want to go in is your M433 brush with no extra product on it, just taking whatever is there and kind of just blending out these edges so we don't, again, have any harsh lines. So just kind of just blending just the very edges. Alright, so now we have that one done. So now I'm going to go in with my flat brush. So the best way to do this is spray your brush with the MAC Fix Plus. And so with this, it does help give it a little bit more pigment and a lot more color payoff. So we'll just go ahead and spray our brush. And we'll go into the shadow and just rub it in. And we'll go in and apply it just basically like you did with your finger. And again, going in with your M433 again and just blending out those edges. So we are going to do a liner today, and we are going to be doing a wing. So today what I'm going to be using is a gel eyeliner. So it comes in a little pot like this, and this one is from Maybelline, and it is in the color Blackest Black, and as you can see, it is very black. So this is one of my favorite eyeliners, and it is really easy to work with because it is a gel. And then so how I apply it is I go in with a little brush like this one from MAC, and it is just a little tiny angle brush, and it is the 266. So then basically what you want to do is just, what I find easier is if I scoop some of the product out and put it on the back of my hand, just so it's easier to work with and you don't have your brush all gunked up from the liner. So then what we go in and you just put your brush in and you just really work it into the brush so it's easier to work with. Alright, so now we go in and do our liner. I know you're not supposed to pull your eye, but that's the only way I can apply eyeliner, and it works for me, so I'm fine with the extra wrinkles that come along with it. So you want to just, I usually just start in the middle and just draw a light line. So you don't want it to be too thick right now because we are going to thicken it up when we do the wing piece of it. So just make a nice thin line. Alright, so the next thing I like to go in and do is take some tape. So this is from Sephora, and it is meant to do what we're about to do here. So basically you just want to cut off a little strip. So I just use a little strip just like this. Alright, so then you just peel the backing off. And so what we're going to go in and do is take our tape. And what we want to do is, so when you do winged liner, you want to go from the bottom of your lash line right here and go up. So we don't want it to go straight out because you want to bring your eyes up. So you go right into the corner here and go up towards your eyebrow. Just like that. And this is my way of being able to do it so I don't have a line out to my forehead. Alright, so now that we have our tape on, again, we'll just go in with our liner. And you can make the wing length really as long as you want. Depends on how dramatic you want to be with it. So I'm just going to start small. And so what you do then is you just take from this, so you can go on the tape really. You just make your little line. And then what you do is just connect it now to the rest of your liner. And then just fill in our line here. Alright, so we have one wing on. And then again, do the same with the other side. Alright, so now that we have both our wings on, you just go ahead and peel off your tape. And look at that wing, how perfect she is. And same with the other side. I am going to do lashes, but for this video, I'm not going to show you how I do lashes. I'm just going to do my lashes off of camera. So if you don't feel comfortable with lashes, then just go ahead, curl your eyelashes, and throw on a few coats of mascara. It's not going to take away from the look at all. It'll still look just as nice, especially if your lashes are curled, because it does give that nice wide-eyed look. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply my lashes, and I will be right back and we can continue on with the rest of our face. Alright, so now we have our eyelashes on. So the lashes I'm wearing today are the Lilly lashes in the style Mykonos. So we're going in with the, can you see it here? MAC Prep and Prime. It is the Natural Radiance Skin Base. So just go ahead and pump that out. So I just used 2 pumps of that, and we'll just put it all over our face. So today we're going in with the Wet n Wild foundation, and it is the Photo Focus foundation, and I am in the shade Shell Ivory. So I'll just go ahead and shake this up. And so with this one, it has like a little paddle on it. So what I like to do is just put it on the back of my hand and just get some out. So I just put a bunch on the back of my hand here. And then I take the pointy end of my sponge and just dip into my hand. And then we'll just go in with our foundation. So with this, you don't want to swipe it, because if you swipe it, it kind of just moves the product around. You actually want to pounce it into your skin and really press it in, just getting it right in. So I would say this foundation is probably like a medium coverage, and it is buildable. For me, I don't need to go in with a second layer ever. And make sure you really blend it into like your hair. Like, you don't get it in your hair, but you blend it right back to your hairline and right to your ear. And of course, going down your neck. You don't want to just stop right here. That is honestly one of my biggest pet peeves ever, is when I see people who just have, like, you know, that line of foundation and you can clearly tell that they haven't blended it, or it's the wrong shade as well. And those are the type of people I really just want to walk up to and be like, hey, can I please just take my blender and just like really help you fix this? But you know, if I feel like if I did that, I'd probably get punched in the face. And I just think in my head, I was like, oh, I could really help you right now. but I just move along. Alright, so now we have our base of foundation on and we're going to go in with our concealer. So today I am using the Tarte Shape Tape and I am in the shade Fair. So with this, I just go under the eyes. So I'll just show you. So we go up in under the eye, like that, and we just basically are making like a little triangle. And then around the nose a little bit, and I always do down the center of my nose because we are going to go in and contour our nose today. So you want to have the contour and then the highlight. So I put also just a teeny bit in the center of my forehead. So you just want to have it, you want to basically have the center of your face is where you want it to be the most highlighted. So we just kind of do like that. You look a little crazy, that's fine. So now I go in with my beauty blender and we just blend it out. And again with this, you're not swiping, you're just again patting this. We pour some of our translucent powder into the lid here, and this is the RCMA No Color Powder. And then I go in still with my sponge and just dip in. You just get that product on here, and then you just, again, press this into the skin. So with this powder, you can use it either to just press this in and set it, and you don't necessarily have to bake with it, but we can bake. So you just put extra powder on your under eye here, right up in here, and you just really pack the powder on, and then you just can let it sit there. Alright, so now that we have that on, we're going to go in and we're just going to let that sit, and we're going to go in with our face powder and set the rest of our face. So the powder I'm using today is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the color Light, and going in with my big Sephora powder brush and just setting the rest of our face. Alright, so now that we have our rest of our face set, I'm just going to go in and dust away our under eye powder. So what I like to do after I've wiped away the powder from underneath my eye is I go in with my M433 brush and I dip into the darkest shade that we used on our lid here, and I take that on the brush and I go on my lower lash line and kind of just softly run that shadow under my lash line. And you kind of just blend it in with your winged liner. So for me, because my eyelids they are actually downturned, what I like to do is I only go to about the middle of my eye with my under eye shadow, just because if you go all the way in, for me, it makes my eyes look more droopy than they already are. And it just kind of makes the whole look come together and makes it more cohesive. Then once you have that done, then you can go in with your mascara, and put mascara on the lower lash line. Right, so now that you have your eyeshadow on your under eye and you have your mascara on, we can now move on to the next step, which is contour. So I'm going to be going in with my Sigma contour brush, Benefit Hoola Bronzer. So you just dip that in, and again, I go from the top of my ear and coming down, and you just have your line here. So you can feel it again if you need to. And then I just start at the back and slowly bring my contour forward. And again, just very light pressure, because we don't want to we want to be able to build up our coverage if we need to. And then we're also going to contour our forehead again. So starting on the outside half of my forehead and just blending that. And I come all the way down to my temples. And then again, just to soften up the contour on the forehead, I go in with my powder brush and just soften everything up. And then what I'm going to go in and do and just underline here again with our translucent powder, just so we can have a sharper line for our contour. So when I do that, I do use my beauty sponge to do that. And I use the flat angled side to apply that powder. So you get the product on the angled side and you just go underneath of your contour and you just underline it here. And then you can just let that sit there while you finish doing the rest of your face. So today we're also going to contour our nose and make it look nice and small and pinched and snatched. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So how I like to do that is actually take a small fluffy brush. So this one is the tapered blending brush from Sigma, and it's not very big. It's just enough to get in there and contour your nose. So we are going to be using the same contour shade. So we're going to go in still with the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. And then just dip into that shade, and we're just going to dip into the bronzer, tap off any excess because you don't want very much product. You want to be very light-handed with this. So with contouring your nose, you want to make sure that you go from your eyebrow and come all the way down, because you want it to be very nice and cohesive and look as natural as possible. So very lightly, you just start your eyebrow and bring it down the side of your nose. And same with the other side, and again starting up by your eyebrow and just bringing it down. Okay, so now, and then the other place I like to contour is just at the end of my nose. I just do a little bit there, and then I'll go in with my baking powder and just very carefully go along the edge here. So just let that sit there, and then I'll go in with my blush, the MAC Pin Tree blush, which is this one right here. So just get that all over the brush, and again, just make sure that you're not going past the outside corner of your eye, and just blending that in. And then I'm going to go in and just blend this contour and blush together, just so it's not as harsh. And then I will also go in and just wipe off this baking here from our contour. Alright, so now we can go in and just do our brows. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that really quick, and we can then continue on with our highlight. Okay, and now I'm gonna go in and highlight my brow bone here. So I'm going in with this very small pencil brush by MAC, and it is the 210, I believe. So it's just very small tip brush. And so I'm gonna go in with shade right here, and it is called Beam in the Jaclyn palette. So I'm just gonna take that on my brush, tap off the excess, and then just go right under the brow bone. Right, so now we're going to go in with our cheek highlight, and again we're using the Anastasia Aurora kit, and going in with our Morphe M510 brush, and we're just going to spray our brush again, and going in with the white shade up here in the middle called Luna. Since we did contour our nose, I like to go in just so I get a really precise highlight for my nose, is I go in with that pencil brush that we did under our brow, and I'm going to go in with the shade Eclipse from the Aurora palette onto my pencil brush, and very lightly we're going to go down the bridge of our nose and just down the center. Okay, so now that we have that done, we can move on to our last step, and that is our lips. So since we have a pretty intense eye look today, I'm just gonna go in with a nude lip today. So I'm going to first line my lips with this Annabelle pencil, and it's just in the shade Buff here. So it's just a nude, basically the same shade as your lip color. Okay, so now that we have our lips lined, I'm going in with this matte Maybelline lipstick, and it's called Daringly Nude, and it is a quite nude shade. So I'll just go in with that. Alright, so now that we have our lip color on, you can just leave it matte if you want to. I am going to go in with a little bit of a gloss. So this one is Maybelline Elixir in Rose Define. It's just a nice rose shade, just to add a little bit of glossiness to our lips. I'm just going in lightly with this. So our last step before we are completely done is our setting spray. So I'm going in with the Urban Decay Chill Makeup Setting Spray. So I'm just going to give it a shake and go ahead and set our face. Alright, here's the finished look. So this is probably one of my favorite looks to do because it's super simple to achieve and it's still super glam. Again, you don't have to do the liner or lashes if you're not that comfortable with doing it. It still looks just as glam just with mascara on. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notifications so you're notified every time I upload. Please leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the video and let me know what you thought and if you had any questions. So until next time, always be yourself. Love you guys. Bye.
Oh. Here is the finish.
Alright, so here.
No. Hair back. Take those pieces back. It looks like you're flying away.